And on this table here, this is the table of the inventors. Here we have David Garfield, invents houses for the poor. Here we have Steve Christiansen, who invents all kinds of handy-dandy things you use in your home or business.
He invents stuff for the sick.
He loves the 3D printing. And over here we have Alan RISER, who invents things that create electricity and water and things for the poor. So it's really great to have these great minds with us tonight.
I'd like to show just a little bit of that when I start, because when I get up and speak, it gives you a visual about where I'm speaking about and what I'm doing. Now, myself, I've been in West Africa and East Africa, so Tanzania, Zambia, Rwanda, Uganda, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, and then over in the West Coast in Ghana. So I've seen a lot of different cultures, I've been in a lot of different places. There's a lot of really cool things happening. You'll have to excuse me, I'll move around a little bit and I might sit down. I have 8 screws in my back, and I just finished my 5th back operation here about 8 weeks ago. So I move around, it's not because I'm nervous, I'm just trying to get comfortable. So one of the things that my wife and I decided to do about 15 years ago, we went on just a humanitarian project. We delivered used American textbooks to one of these villages that you just saw. And we eventually started our own organization, and we built a school, we built a clinic, we built a lot of different things over there, teachers' houses and stuff. But one of the things that we had to overcome when you work in a place like that is you have to speak what you want to do. You have to not just think what you want to do. I like to use the example. I've worked on lighting projects. I'll tell you about those in just a minute. But I had several different operations laid me up for like six months at a time. And it was during the middle of when I was working in Africa, and I wanted to build a light that, well, not necessarily a light, but a battery that would power a light for these rural places. I used to be into mountain agronomies and everything, so the stuff that I had a lot of outdoors type background, and so I wanted to get into the bush. I didn't want to go just outside the city, but there's a lot of needs in those places. We've done some work in those places, but most of the place we go is out in the bush. And I was thinking about light, and I thought about it, and I love the saying, I think, therefore I am, but you have to go past thinking. The Lord wanted light on the earth, and he thought about it. But the light did not appear until he said, let there be light. So when I started speaking my dreams out loud, they started to come to pass. And I believe in, you can call it what you want or whatever. Some people refer to it as the power of intention. But when you set your mind to something, you speak out loud what you want to do, and then you go out and you do it, you can accomplish amazing things. I wanted to create a battery that would run a light for my friends in Africa. In 2006, my wife and I were the first white people to go into Congo village. The children had no idea what a white person looked like. Some of the adults that have been in town. So this is, Lake Tanganyika is the world's longest lake. It's the size of Utah. And it sits 3,000 feet down in the bottom of Rift Valley. So it's like this huge Grand Canyon. It's 100 miles wide. And so to get down in there, it's difficult. There's only a couple of places where you can get down in there. Once you're in there, there's just villages, remote villages all along there, basically cut off from the outside world. There's many roads or anything. The only way to get there is boat. And when my wife and I showed up, the children freaked out. They thought the witch doctor had painted himself white and was there cast spells on somebody or something like that. They ran helter-skelter into the jungle, screaming, terrified. Well, when we'd been there for, an hour or so, they saw us talking to some missionaries that was there. These were not a denominational missionary, they were just Christian missionaries that had come to try to preach the gospel to these people, to bring them not physical light, but spiritual light. And so the kids came down and they'd never seen long hair like you guys have. All they'd ever seen was curly short hair. In fact, the girls down there, they don't even grow their hair out until they're adult. So they have shaved head just like the boys do. And they were just amazed to see people with hair on their arms and on their head. They wanted to feel us, they wanted to touch us, they wanted to smell us. And I didn't know at the time, it was a long story. My wife went back home, obviously, and I came out. Most of these trips I do by myself. I was living in Africa for 6 months when we built the school for the first time. I've traveled there every year, but on the light issue is I had money to buy candles, but nobody else did. Very few people had money to buy candles. And it's being so close to the equator, it gets dark and light pretty much the same time. And so between 4:30 and 5 o'clock, it gets dark. And they don't want to shut down at dark. And I had bought a little grass hen. It was in this video for $80. And just made this guy just rich. And he had put a lot of work into building this grass up. Well, I had been using candles, and they just burned out. Just burned out. And I bought these little survival things from Smith & Edwards at Walmart. Basically, it was a candle in a piece of tin, in a tin foil holder. And so it would burn the wax. Instead of just burning the wick, it would actually use the wax. And that little teeny tiny candle in that metal container lasted 15 times longer than the big candles that they would buy and burn it down, buy and burn it down. And this would just keep on going and going and going. That was the biggest technology we had seen ever. And I'm like, wow, these guys are blind. I'm not a medical professional. In my engineering stuff, my electrical engineering, I got involved in hospitals and stuff. And I ended up taking some courses to do with medical, but I'm certainly not a doctor. And when I got out into the bush, these people needed medical attention. They came to Mungo Mungo for medical attention, even though I told them 100 times, I'm not a doctor, but I'll do what I can. So I got to put in a world where there's no doctor. People would bring something to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is what the book says to do. I got a little bit of experience, but okay. So I was stitching people up. I was treating people with AIDS, tuberculosis, cholera, diphtheria. It was just amazing. The diseases, leprosy is still prevalent out there, and I delivered several babies while I was there, which I found out doctors don't do no work. It's the woman that does all the work. Doctors just make sure the baby doesn't hit the ground. Now, if there were problems, that's a different story. But luckily, all the babies that I delivered, it was a normal delivery. It worked very well. And these poor babies ended up with short belly buttons because a lot of the people that deliver babies, they cut the umbilical cord about that long, and then only just the end drops off, and this much next to their stomach still remains skin. So they walk around their life with these great big belly buttons. Some of them are herniated, but most of them are just because they cut the umbilical cords too long. So I lived out there for 9 months, and there was a really teaching moment out there. I knew a guy. He was a good guy. He was a really good guy, but he didn't understand the principle of giving. And I had big fancy competition pulling tractors and stuff. I was into to racing and everything. And I went to this guy, and I said, hey, you know, I'm putting a body on a different body on a frame, and you just can't go down to Walmart or check her out and buy these big washer rubbers that are this thick to mount your old style bodies on. And he had a can of it, a whole caffè can of them sitting there on the shelf. And he refused to give me one or to sell me one. He says, if those are mine, if you want some, you're gonna have to go find your own. I said, okay. So back to Africa, I was working, building the school, and I wanted to build a clinic. So I went home to do a fundraiser, and my dad had passed away when I was in Africa, and I couldn't get home. It's like 7 days to get out of the Rift Valley down there. So I got home, and I went and talked to my stepmom, and I said, what are we going to do with all Dad's junk? Well, you can sell it, because she knew I was going to raise money to build a clinic. So I said, well, let's sell all Dad's stuff. I'll drag it all back down to Green. We'll have this big auction. I'm dragging all this stuff down, and I look on the shelf, and there's a coffee can. It was filled with washers. My dad died with a coffee can full of washers sitting on his shelf. It was absolutely worthless to me. And it taught me I don't want to die with a can of washers sitting on my shelf. I took all of his junk and I sold it and moved to Africa again, and I built a clinic. Let me tell you about, I was listening to you guys tell you just a little bit of a story about building. I had to spend almost $400 to go clear town to get a minister of, it wasn't the minister of education, but it was a minister of buildings over the education. And the normal procedure to build out there was to burn bricks, to make clay bricks out of termite clay. And he came out there and he said, what are you going to build out of, Alan? He said, there's no termites out here, it's all sand. The termites are in the wood, they're not gathering clay. There's no soil out here sufficient that you can build a school out of clay bricks. And when I'm in Africa, I just depend on the Spirit to lead me and guide me. And we're laying there in my $80 mud hut. And I was sleeping there, and he was just excited. He had been raised in the bush, and this is the first time he had been back to the bush since he moved out and got a college education and everything. And you see those pictures on there, he had me a fish head, he says, because he thought really highly of me, and the fish heads are the most delicate, delicious part of the meal. So he asked me a fish head, do you eat fish head, Alan? I said, well, if you do. Oh, well, and he went on and on and on. He was just so elated to be back out in the bush. And we never did decide how we was going to build the building. And I went down to the lake, and I was walking around, and this light bulb came on. And I ran back there, and I said, Mr. Montefalli, come down here to the lake shore, I've got to show you something. I said, the Lord's provided us with plenty of bricks to build a school. Don't you see them? He's like, all right, this Mzungu's lost his mind. So I picked up a stone, and I said, Mr. Montefalli, have you ever seen a stone where I said, never. I says, aren't these similar to the size of a brick? He said, well, we'll build the school with stones. I said, the Lord has provided thousands and thousands of them. We'll build with stones. Is how they get the cement. Well, we'll put cement in a boat in Deep Lungu, and I'll rent an engine, and we'll ship the cement out here. We ended up floating the wood out there because there was terrible storms. The boat was going to capsize, so we threw all the wood off in the village, and then had all the kids come down and just swim with it and push it after the storm was over, and push it down. And it was a lot of really neat experiences building a school. It took over 30,000 stones and over 300 pockets of cement to build that school. And then we built a clinic, and then we built a teacher's house, and these were all different projects, and we built boat buses. And somewhere in the middle of all that, my back went out. And had an operation, I kept falling down, had an operation, that didn't help. I told my friends in Africa, I said, well, I guess I'm done, I won't be back. I couldn't hardly make it back to the airport. And told some of my good friends goodbye, that I wouldn't be coming back to Africa anymore. And I came home, and several operations later, I had some very serious operations, and some didn't work, and some, anyway, it was only about a year and a half later, after my first couple of surgeries, when I was sitting there, I told myself out loud, these guys need light. These guys have to have light. How can you read? How can you do your school? You've got your school, but the children all have to go do stuff. You know, they're expected to gather water, to do the farm, and they don't have time. And when they get home, it's dark. So I sat down and I started studying. And for you engineers, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I studied telluric, or I studied galvanic reactions, I studied redox reactions. Then I got into microorganisms and to photosynthesis that is created not with sunlight and plants, but with microbes. So in a 3-year period, I put together what I call, the first one I call the blueprint. And what I did is I used potassium in calamine as an electrolyte. The potassium is what you'll find in a regular alkaline battery to carry the current. Then I used carbon and magnesium as a sacrificial anode is a magnesium, and carbon is a anode and a diode, or an anode and an electrode. So, anyways, I was producing a little bit of current, but it wasn't big enough. And I had to go through another great big rigmarole. I won't bore you with all the thing, but I figured out how to run a 3-volt LED off of half a volt in battery. Put it all together and I charged out the Africa into the very remotest parts of Ethiopia there are. And I don't show many videos of Ethiopia because it's not appropriate in setting because they don't run any posts. But we took a line cruiser down there, and we took two weeks to get down there. We brought like 5 or 6 5-gallon cans of diesel, 4 or 5 spare tires, and miracles happen like all the time in there. I was going through. I just flew to Ethiopia with all this stuff in my suitcase. It looked like I was a terrorist if you opened my suitcase. Magnesium and wires and carbon and electronics and stuff, I'd probably still be in prison over there. And somehow I got it through the airport. I got over there and I'm okay, I'm going to look for these villages. I went to a couple of villages and I wanted to teach in the college, and I was teaching these college professors stuff that they'd never even heard of before, and I was lighting this light and they were just totally amazed. And I said, well, I'm just going to work my way south down towards Kenya and South Sudan. I happened to get on the bus next to it. It was pulled out of one of the villages that I wanted to go, the Dawsonage and the Hamlet villages, the most remote villages, as far as clothing and housing, and it's out in the jungle. And he goes, the missionary took me when I was just young. And he served me. He gave me an education. And he said, now I'm translating the Bible into my language. It's not even a written language, so I'm like, how do you write it? He says, well, the Lord's helping me. I said, where are you going? He says, I'm going home to my villages for a while. He said, can I go with you? Sure. I'm the bus driver. Here's a few more shillings. Well, I can't remember what currency he was using. And the journey was off, and we went to clear out, and we spent time in mud huts. The recorded high temperature down there was 1 wasn't 149 when I was there, but I bet it was 115 every day. I witnessed some of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. And I'd bring my suitcase out for this technology that they'd never seen. And it was, I'd taken this modern day technology and I'd moved it into a Stone Age thing. Because 3 years before, I said, here we go. I want to have parents. I didn't just think it in my head. I moved for it. I'm not going to die with a can of washers on my shelf. And I made a lot of sacrifices. By this time, my organization was working, and I was getting a few donations. And, you know, those along those lines, you know, I'd ask anybody who's working here who felt like they could. And if you feel like you can't, do it anyway. Because aren't we told to give all of our needs? I was in the farthest reaches of Dawson Village. We'd gone 2 weeks on a land cruiser. We had to take a boat across the Elmo River, which is just like a big muddy river, in the middle of the desert, just sand on both sides. I had my flip-flops on and burnt my feet walking through the sand, overflowed into my sandals. We got some places, got some motorcycles across the river, and we went out into the desert further. And we came into a village made out of sticker leaves. And they lived on cows and goat mud and different things like that. And we were putting together, got some really cool video. It's not a pro business. All these ladies do most of the work, and guys that take care of the cattle. And they're stirring up a batch of manure, and they're thinking, this was a little bit lost in this nothing. And we put all these things in this bucket, we put the manure together and everything else. And I said, okay, bring water. I wanted 20 liters of water. That's a 5-gallon bucket. All the women that were there were about 15 of them, and their houses looked like igloos made out of sticks. They brought me about 1 gallon of water. That's all they could run out of the entire village. So I got one of those motorcycles, I put a 5-gallon bucket on there, and I said, go back to the river, and I said, bring me back 5 gallons of water. So we came back, this lady was talking to my friend, who was doing perfect English now, and he's the one who brought me out there, and he says, the lady wants to talk to you. I said, okay. Next time coming, bring vehicle and water. And when I left, red light, and they kind of experienced it. I came home and I did some things, and I decided I tested water from the Great Salt Lake and the Sticky Hot Springs and everything, and I actually had this thing running on water instead of garbage. And I decided, okay, if I do dirty water, I'll do something with salt in it, I'll do something with sulfur in it. So I made this thing so that it would run off water. And I've got one home that I have got cow manure in, some dirt. I told my wife, dump all your eggshells in there this morning. Just a composter. August 24th, that light had been running for 4 years continually, never stopped. It's continual every day, day in, day out. I got it outside my back window, and I look out my window, and there's that light out of my shop, just shining bright. Just a little flashlight. And it's not going to be a 100-watt bulb or anything, but when you put it in a little light, it's amazing. Because I want it. Gentleman over here from West Africa, I got involved in a project in BYU, not very deep, but they asked me, they knew I was an engineer, they knew I was a farmer, they knew I was a welder, they knew I did all these things, and they couldn't make these merry-go-rounds that they were making, have the coupling system stay together. Now I know you've been out in the jungle, and you've been in the farm. We've got all the electronics made. They made these wonderful MPPT controllers, 3-phase AC windmill generators, merry-go-round. They couldn't make the drive system stay together and work, and they couldn't get anybody to go to Africa to wire all this stuff up. So I came on board, and I went down there and I said, well, you need to do this, 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 and this, this. So they sent me blueprints from Africa to make these things in my shop. I said, well, I don't know why you're doing it this way, don't do it that way. Anyway, he flew me out to Africa. They had 7 of those running, and not one was working. So I took all my tractor parts with me, put them in my suitcase, all my wires and everything else. And when I left Africa, they had 7 merry-go-rounds that were staying together, that were generating electricity. They would charge 5 lanterns per day, 2.5 hours of playground play, that generated 500 hours of light. And so I said, Ben Martin from Power Playgrounds, I said, let me invent you a swing. No, we can't do it. Electricians, electrical engineers says, grossly inefficient, that will not work. So okay. So I went home, I cut my kid's swing all apart, I put some part on, put a generator, gearbox. They come down, look, man. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I can't believe that. So I sent an electrical engineer out, and I burned up all that stuff because it was putting out so much electricity. I want to go to Africa and build one of those. And I spent a month down there in the slums of Accra, Ghana, trying to figure out where are you going to get all these parts for this thing. And I find a really remote place to put this thing. And he said, well, you don't tell me remote because I know where remote places are. And so I found an island. And I'll try to just hit the highlights of the story. But Thomas Grover was in he's in the Pearl Great Prize, or doctrine comes. But him and Brigham Young had a big tiff. And it was to do with moving wagons across the river. And Brigham Young gave my great-great-great-grandpa Thomas Grover a bunch of crap. There was a fight. My grandfather Thomas Grover ended up building a raft and floating these things across the river, and he made him stay there and keep floating these things across the river. And so Ben Markham is related to one of the guys. I'm related to Thomas Grover. Here we are 150 years later, and Ben says, you cannot float a 2,000-pound swing out onto an island. I said, did Jesus Christ walk on water? And he goes, yeah. So what makes you think I can float a 2,000-pound swing to an island? He said, you are bullheaded. I'm going to town. When I get there, don't call me and tell me that thing's on the bottom of the river. It's right in the delta of the Atlantic Ocean. There's 2 islands in Ghana. Swings that are generating electricity. 2 merry-go-rounds. Because I said, I'm going to move merry-go-rounds. I'm going to build a swing. Or somebody said, I can't build a swing. It's already been tried twice by BYU. Some years later, Ben Martin came up and he says, you know all those things that you told me to do to merry-go-round now? I said, yeah. Well, I should have listened to it, but it's okay. Flew out to Pennsylvania, had 9 engineers, and they put an American-made factory stamped out plastic powder coat. And he says, Alan, come look at this. We're in the testing. They got all these arms to move it so many times. Full American thing. And these engineers looked at me and they said, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That won't work. That won't work. And the engineers are like, well, we build these for a living. We build millions of dollars worth of playgrounds every week. And they looked, and Martin looked at him and he says, you do whatever Mondo tells you to do. There's 45 merry-go-rounds in Ghana made by Provo Systems. When we speak what we want to do, when we do what the Lord has commanded us to do, every one of us have talents out here. The Lord didn't make no mistakes when He made you, or you, or you. my talents aren't the same as yours. I could probably never accomplish the things that you will accomplish or have accomplished. But the Lord gave me special talents. He created me just like He created you, and just like He created you guys. And if you listen to the Spirit, you'll be able to accomplish anything you want in life. Service has brought me more happiness in my life than any great big race truck, any pulling tractor, any this and super speed boat. When you do something for somebody else, you can do for yourself. It truly helps them. It truly bless them. It's almost the Christmas season is approaching, and I like to tell this story, and then I'll ask a few questions. I'm probably getting close on time. I spoke out loud. I'm going to Africa. I'm going to go to Chronicle School. These missionaries that were in Provo village, they said, "How did you find us out?" I said, "Well, I brought 52,000 pounds of books over here. I'm going to deliver them to remote schools. And I figured there was a bunch of these schools put out here in the middle of the jungle of Zambia. It rains 200 inches. It's almost like the Amazon out there." And he said, "Will you come back and build us a school and clinic?" He said, I am 25,000 miles away from the United States of America. I said, "You can't even believe that, how far that is." And he started questioning, "What are you doing out here? What's going on?" And he says, "We built this little grass school." You probably sent him a video. It's a Tonga Community School. He says, "We come out here to teach the people about Jesus Christ." Well, we found we can't teach them because they can't read or write. Would you come and build us a school? First thing, I made a mistake. I said, "I'll try." Trying is the first step to failure. If you try, you're never going to get it done. You have to do it. So I told him I'd try, and then when I got home, I started telling people, "I'm going to Africa, and I'm going to build a school. How are you going to do it?" "I don't know, but I'm going to do it." And those missionaries said, "We can't teach because we don't have no books, we don't have no pencils, we don't have no paper, we don't have anything." And he said, "We've been fasting and praying for 2 months for somebody to come out here and help us." My heart stopped. And I said, "I want you guys to come down to the boat." And boxes and boxes. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints loaded with books, paper, and pencil. And I told him, "I don't know what you guys said in your prayer, but it must be very powerful, because it's drawn me 25,000 miles away from my home. And I brought the things that you asked the Lord for." Speaking what you want is very rare. Those guys spoke to the Lord out loud. I know some of you guys are LDS, some of you may not be LDS. I'm LDS. We all pray to the same Lord. He hears us. Those guys spoke out loud. We need books. We need paper. We need pencil. We need somebody to help us build a school. I told them, "I'm not going to come in here and build you a school because you just destroyed it." "What do you mean?" "You guys are going to build the school. You're going to pay for the school." "Well, we can't pay for the school. We don't have enough." I said, "I will pay for the school. You will haul the sand, you will haul the water, you will lay the bricks, and I will buy the cement." Their part was 1/4, because when I left, I didn't want a building that they didn't have any ownership in. Those guys were hauling 100 and 200 pound stones for 6 months. When they got through, that was their school. The first year was over. I told them, "Use it for a church." Witchcraft ruled the village there. It was all witchcraft. And nobody knew about Jesus Christ. Nobody studied about Jesus Christ. It was witch doctrine. And some months later, after we opened the school, was the first Christian wedding in that school. It was not Lutheran, it wasn't Protestant, it wasn't Catholic, it wasn't Mormon, but it was a Christian wedding. And those guys believed in Jesus Christ, and they knew they had to be sealed with Jesus Christ to be husband and wife. There was a little boy in Tonga Village when I first got there. His name was Wiggin. I built handicap schools, maybe different things. I went on to invent more things I'll tell you about if I have time. Kinetic energy machines, human power, whirly birds, swings, pump water, different things. But let me tell you about Little Wiggin. This is a holiday season, and I personally do not like Halloween. It stands against everything that I believe in. But you know what? If my grandkids want to dress up as Batman and go and cat, I'm all on board with that. But I want to get into that. But we're going into the Christmas season. We're getting ready to be thankful for all that we have. If we have $20 in our pocket right now, we're among the 15 most richest people in the world. Little Wiggin, he was in that video. He had his North Shore hat on. He was standing in my mud hut. And he's a little guy, and he'd come up to me and say, "Mungo, Mungo, sweetie." And I'm like, okay, I give him a sweetie a couple times, this little American candy or gum or candy. And I'm like, I'm not teaching him anything. So I said, "Wiggin, pick up on that, go bring water." Because we was drinking out of a stream, and I was chlorinating my water. So little Wiggin, he'd run down, he'd take one of those 2-liter bottles, he'd run down to the crib, and he'd give me a 2-liter bottle of water, and he'd hand it to me and say, "Mungo, Mungo, sweet," tuck on my jacket. And I'd give him a little sweet. He shadowed me everywhere I went. Everywhere I was, there was little Wiggin. And he was always trying to teach me some better. "Mungo, Mungo, come in, he went, da 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 da," you know, he would try to teach me how to speak his language. And with that heat, it was unbearable down there. They call it the home of heat because the sun comes 3,000 feet down on the bottom of the valley, and it doesn't come back up. And it can rain 200 inches in 4 months, and then it's humid. It is just unbearably hot. So the Lake Technique is really fresh. Actually, I'm drinking out of that in places where it was away from the shore. And little Wiggin loved to go swimming. And so did hundreds of the other children want to go swimming with me. And we'd go swimming 2 or 3 times a day. I'd throw them up in the air, and they were splashing around, and you know, it was quite a hoot. And we're having problems with the school, and you know, I talked about all these projects. They did come, they weren't without trials. And I was having one of those moments when I was down in the water swimming, and the kids were just mauling me to death. And so I went out into the deep end. I didn't know at the time that little Wiggin was still by my side, and he followed me out into the deep because I wanted to get away from some of the kids so I could sit there and relax. Well, little Wiggin came with me, and I didn't know it. And I was called to back into my village. I sat right on the shore to get some tools for the workers that were. I'd hired some of the people to work on the school, and they said that they needed a tool that I brought from town. I said, okay. I went over there and I got the tool, and I come back out, and people were screaming and hollering, carrying on. And I looked down, and this huge guy. There's not many people my size in Africa. This guy was my size, and he had a little Wiggin holding out just like that, upside down. It was purple. It was purple, bringing him out. And little Wiggin had drowned it. And everybody said, "Mungo, Mungo, help." I didn't know what to do for somebody who had drowned. But luckily, me living on the shore, the experiences before, and the mother. By the time I get there, the mother was trying to give CPR, and I was going to go over and take over. It wasn't working. He was turning more blue, and it was not breathing. And this guy that was held him up by his leg. He took him up and lifted him up about chest height, and he slammed him down on the ground as hard as he could throw him on the ground. And it pushed the air. it pushed the water out of his lungs, and he coughed and he started breathing. And so they expect me to run over to the little clinic thing that I built and just bring some medicine and some stuff, and this is going to make him all better. And I come over and I'm like, okay, there's nothing about drowning victim in my little book that says where there's no doctor other than CPR. And I'm like, what do you do for somebody that just lost oxygen for that long length period? His fifth system is full of bacteria now and microbes and stuff where he's been in his lungs. And we went into a little small hut in the middle of Zambia, Africa, with no light. And everybody left the hut except for Wigan, me, and his mother. There was no light there. And she looked at me to fix her little son. I didn't know what I was going to do. And it hit me. I've got something very powerful that I can do for this little boy. I laid my hands on his head. I gave him a blessing. And I told him he would grow up. And he would be well. And he would be a wonderful young man. I looked over at his mother in the dark. All I could see was a silhouette. I gave her a hug. Tears were running down her cheek. She didn't know what I'd said, but I'd spoken out loud what I wanted to happen. I didn't say it silently. I spoke it out loud. Wicked, you're going to be okay. Through the power of the priesthood that I hold. Wicked went on to get better. It was Christmas time. These guys didn't know anything about Christianity. Very little, if any. They didn't know anything about Christmas. They never celebrated Christmas. I said, we gotta have a Christmas tree. We gotta bring this tree over. And I just went and chopped down just whatever tree looked like a pine tree. And I had paper, and I showed the kids how to make snowflakes. And the older ladies just had to fit because I was wasting that paper. I was cutting it all up. I mean, these guys would write on the paper and then they erase it all and reuse it, you know. And I have a toothpaste tube holder, or toothbrush holders, bandanas, everything I could think that was shiny, candy wrappers, anything I could think was shiny, put on that tree. And there was little Wick. Oh, he was having a ball. He was, Mano, see, come on, Mano, see. And they were getting my first taste of Christmas. And then the missionaries that I spoke about were having a Christmas cantata. Love to listen to Zambian worship music. And they were teaching all the kids about Jesus Christ and everything else. And I was sitting under a papaya tree and I was thinking about the Christmas cantatas that I'd heard at home and how I missed my family, how I missed my wife. I was 12,000 miles from home, 20,000 miles from home, in the middle of the jungle on Christmas Eve. And I looked over there, and as the missionaries taught them about giving, about Christmas. The missionaries had a bag of sweets, a bag of African sweets, and the kids lined up from here to everywhere. And the missionaries would come up and they'd give them their first Christmas gift was a sweet. And I watched the Wigger get his first Christmas gift out of a piece of candy, a sweet. He walked over to me. He could see that I was not feeling very well, sitting under the papaya tree. And little Wiggin taught me more about Christmas and more about giving and more about service. He walked over the only possession he had to his knee. His only Christmas gift he'd ever received. And he came up and he said, Mama, sweet. He wanted to serve. He wanted to have the one thing that he ever had. And I wanted to put it in my pocket as a reminder, as a momentum. He said, no. He pulls it out of my pocket and unwraps it and he's stuck with it. But I don't know if Whitman would have done that 6 months before that. There are so many opportunities. You don't have to travel to the jungle sometimes and you don't have to go to the homeless shelters. A lot of us can go to our next door neighbors and knock on our door and offer them a hand. True love is the souls. And I beg every one of them, don't die if we can't wash us on the shelf. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer questions. I probably use my time, but we just finished doing a project in Kenya. One of my human card things, drilled boreholes in the ground. We went through rock. It was amazing. Done other projects, but I think I forgot to justify what I was going to say. But if you're interested in anything, go ahead. By all means, ask questions, and I'll leave when Neil kicks me out. Go ahead.
So is your organization called Charitable Ingenuity?
It is.
Okay. And that's the organization that you just said that they built that drill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually made myself a country director. I just got back from Kenya 2 months ago, drilling a borehole out in the site.
Okay.
I haven't updated my website worth a dog, but I have to have one. If you want updates, you can look up the Facebook page. But I do have a website, and something going. But I love to put stuff on motivational stuff up on Facebook and run a private car business. I stay quite busy. With my back, I can't do a lot of it. Did everybody get a card? I take care of the cemetery. I cut hay. I run an Africa organization. I have 4 pilot cars. And so anyways, was that, did you have a
Yes, that's perfect.
How old were you when you started doing these projects and what they're doing about?
Things happen to you sometimes in your life. I was over 2 assisted living centers and a nursing home. I was running central supply, that's all the mechanical, electrical engineering of the 3 buildings. I was about, I started having kids. I think I had my first kid at 21. And let's see, so he was 18 the year I started doing this. This is his last year at home. I was 21 plus 18, that's how old I was. And some things happened. I'd actually gone to Africa a couple of times while I was working at the nursing home. And big corporations come in and buy medical facilities and stuff. And it just happened to be one of those things. And basically, they were cutting the fat. I was making a lot of money there, a lot of vacation, and a lot of benefits. And I could see that they were going to find a way to get rid of me without firing me. So I said, you don't have to go through that. And I just walked out one day. And I said, that's the end of my 8-hour-a-day working career. And I went out and I've been doing my own thing ever since. That was about 15 years ago, 2004, 2005. But, I could have told myself, well, I've got to go find another 8-hour-a-day job because I can't survive without it. And I've been getting along just perfectly fine. I mean, my wife did go to work at that time because I was living in Africa for 6 months. Somebody had to be home to pay for the electric bill and stuff. But and my wife just retired from that particular job, and she's my office manager, doing all my invoicing for my pilot car business. So I told my wife the other day that she was nervous so much she quit her job that we weren't going to be able to buy us. Yeah, we're fine. I says, you know that keyboard that I just bought you? Like, she had to have it. She wanted one. She actually wanted a gaming one, so I didn't get her a $15 keyboard. I bought her a $250 keyboard. And the other day I looked at the keyboard. I said, honey, I said, did you know there's $10 million in that keyboard? She goes, what? I said, all you got to do is punch the right buttons and you can get it out. It's true, isn't it? Go ahead, Neil.
Now, one of the things I know about you is that on one of your expeditions, you were kidnapped. Now, I know you could probably talk hours about that experience, but can you summarize it in a few minutes as to maybe how the Lord redeemed you from that perilous situation that you were in?
I told you got to follow the Spirit. And I wish I was more spiritually in tune when I'm home. When I charge off to Africa by myself, 99% of the time I'm by myself. I have to depend on the Lord. All these inventions that I do, I get inspiration from the Lord. I'm not smart enough to invent all these things I've got. But I was on a walk. I was going down Lake Tanganyika. And I'll back up just a little bit. I was having some problems at school, and I prayed for the Lord for help. And he came dragging a dead body behind the boat up to the village. People thought he was Mizungu because he'd been in water so long because he turned white. And when I asked the Lord for help, that's where he sent me. And I didn't know, I had no idea that that was really a blessing in disguise because, well, now we got a dead person floating in our lake where we do our dishes, you know. We got to get him out of there. And they asked me, they said, Alan, we know you're Christian. Would you pray for this man? And I prayed that his family would someday know where he was. You know, he'd drowned in the lake. It's a big lake. It's like an ocean. And I decided that was a good time to leave. And I remember the scriptures that said, go without purse or go without script. I said, I'm going to let these people that have nothing support me. And I brought a pair of clean underwear in a little fanny pack, and I took off walking for weeks under the jungle. And I got to the border of Zambia and Congo. At that time, Al Qaeda was up there, and it wasn't, ISIS wasn't around, and all these other fascists weren't around. But I was coming out of a little Christian church, and they were, I think they were, might have been Catholic, I'm not sure, but we're studying the Gospels. And I come out, and this guy said, you want to go to the Congo? I've been looking out over the Congo for several weeks. It's vast. Just the jungle part of Congo is almost the size of the United States. Congo is huge. You could put all of Europe, all of China, all the United States in the African continent. The African continent is huge. And so I'm looking out over the Congo, and I want to go out there. Missionaries said, Alan, if you make it up to Congo, don't go in. My wife had got a text message, if you go to the Congo, don't go in. That was before smartphones. We had little flip phones, we could text back and forth. And I come out of this little outhouse thing, and I said, I'm going to the Congo. And that small voice inside my head said, Alan, don't go to the Congo. I went right down, jumped in a boat, and headed for the Congo. Got in their ways, got captured by the rebels. They put me in a little mud hut and was wanting to shoot me. I had a school teacher with me, and they had taken him somewhere else. And even though I wasn't listening to the Lord, I wasn't following my promptings, the Lord still sent a guardian angel for me. I was sitting there, and I had 6 AK-47s pointing at me. And this guy comes walking up to me, he says, hey, give me a cigarette. So I'm Christian, I don't smoke. He says, well, you got some money on you. No, I tried to give it all away for bribes. I don't got no money. Only time I haven't been able to bribe my way out of something in Africa. And so I said, what are you doing coming asking me for a cigarette? These guys are obviously going to kill me, da 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 da. One thing led to another and another and another and another. And he had told those guys, if you kill this Mzungu, the Zambian soldiers, U.S. soldiers, they're going to come looking for it. And they're going to bring hellfire down on our village. And who wants to be responsible for that? That single guy, I had already said my last prayer to my Father in heaven. Well, I didn't do what I was told. I asked the Lord to take care of my family, and maybe someday they would know where I was at. And about 30, 45 minutes later, the guys that had the guns were now formed a circle around me, and were keeping everybody else from taking me out because they still wanted to kill me. And they took me down to the lake. This is a period of a whole day. They took me down to the lake, and all the guys that came in Africa, whoever's got the guns rule. Usually they're not guns, but anyway, they came down and they was holding these other guys back. I thought there was going to be a war there. And one guy that was speaking French came over and started trying to catch me in something. They thought I was an American spy. They thought I was spying on the village because I asked him about schools and clinics and these things. And I lowered my head again, and I prayed again, and I looked up, and the boat that I came in, it was a little tiny boat with a little tiny engine on it, was coming across the harbor. I didn't ask permission. I ran down and I got in it. And the school teacher was in there, and the engine wouldn't start, so we started paddling out of there. He said, "We can't leave yet." This Congolese guy wasn't with us yet. I said, "Well, he's a coward. He's the one that started all this, and they're not going to kill him." So we started paddling. He come and jumped in the boat, and it reminded me of like Gilligan's Island, jungle all over, and there's this inlet here. And by the time we got to like an ocean, the lake is so big. By the time we reached the mouth of that, the engine started. I stood up and waved at the guys that had the guns, and off we went. We got lost in the lake. There was a big storm. We almost capsized. We ran into, there was a 3,000-foot mountain in front of us, and we couldn't see it. We ran into shore at full speed, and it happened to be on the Zambian-Congolese border. And I jumped out. I said, "I'll help pull your boat out. I'll get across that stream." And me and the teacher, we got across the stream. But I listen to the Holy Spirit now. I listen. When the Holy Spirit speaks to me, I listen. I was in a bus in Mombasa, and it was in the traffic jam, and that voice come to me and said, "This is not your bus, Alan. Get off this bus." Long story short, I sat there and had an arm wrestle with the Holy Spirit. I finally got off the bus. I got my backpack, and I went down. I said, "This isn't my bus," or whatever. You can catch another one in a couple hours. 16-hour ride to Mombasa. I was sitting in a little coffee shop in Mombasa, Kenya the next day. The bus that I was on came behind a tow truck. They all burned out. I had no idea what happened to it. I know where not to go now. I know to stay out of Congo. I know to stay out of Somalia. Zambia is a very Christian nation. I have a lot of friends that live on the streets in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Some of them are bad guys, but you know, I do what I can to help anybody. Whether it's the drug dealers on the streets of Dar es Salaam, to the people with no waters in the deserts of Kenya, to the clinic in Zambia. More questions? At this point, nice to meet you. This organization started by